Hello, everybody. Good evening again, and welcome to another masterclass by Taste of Vino. Uh, let's give another couple of minutes for somebody, somebody who's a bit late to join us. It is warming up to Christmas masterclass, and we have 6 really different, interesting wines to taste. I do hope that you have also some food. I did send some food recommendations, so hopefully you did get a bit of that, especially for the first wine we're going to taste tonight. So warming up to Christmas. Christmas is very special time of the year when we are looking really forward to enjoy our time with friends and family. When we are opening those special bottles we are saving for Christmas time, and when we can eat pretty much whatever we like. So this is kind of warming up to that period of the year, which really most of us are looking forward whole of the year. Nothing should spoil that, not coronavirus pandemic, not this nonsense about Brexit. So we should really enjoy that special time of the year with special people, with families, and with special wine and food. So tonight, it's 6 wines to taste, and let me just shortly switch to share screen with you. And we're gonna be doing 6 wines tonight, starting with orange wine. As always, please do use chat box to tell me what you think about wines. And if you have some bits of foods, I do have a little bit in front of me as well. That would be great, just to check how some wines will be really completely different with food. So basically, we're going to be, and also there will be question, Q&A button, so you can use that on the end of the masterclass to ask me whatever you like. I'm going to be keeping my eye on the chat box, so you can tell me whatever you think, and we can discuss, and you can ask, and I'll try my best to really answer your questions. So we have 6 wines to taste. What we're going to be discussing today is orange wine, history of wine making of orange wine, and also we're going to be discussing Malvasia from Circ Winery in Slovenia, right on the border with Italy, right on the very far western end of Slovenia. We're going to be tasting one red wine from Bosnia and Herzegovina called Plava Greda, that's Blatina grape variety, very interesting as well. Plava Cmali, made from my friend Denis, who's making natural wines. We're going to also discuss and talk about natural wines, and then we're going to be tasting Postup, second best vineyard universally accepted in Croatia and wider, after Dingač, and we're going to be tasting finally my own wine, which is made from Dingač. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But let's start from beginning. Before we start tasting wines, let me just try to explain the wines, and let's firstly taste wines on its own, and then retaste with food. If you have any of the food I recommended, that would be great. So let's start with orange wine. So orange wine is making big waves in last, good number of years, 5, 6, 7 years. Most of the top class restaurants would have now, besides red, white, and rosé, they're going to have orange wine on their list as well. So orange is not wine made from oranges. Of course, for the making of the wine, you need to use only grapes, nothing else, no other fruit. But orange wine is kind of a new, old thing. So orange wine is wine which is made from white grape varieties, in a way like how we make red wines. So you can see on this photo here, orange wine has been made many thousand years back in Georgia. which was a former Russian Republic, which was considered the birthplace of the wine some 7,500 years. We did mention that last time. And basically what they have done then is they would be picking white grapes and just crushing them whole with seeds and with stems and with everything. And then they would be making these big clay pots like here called qvevris. They are different sizes, you know, from 50 liters to about 2,500, 3,000 liters. This one's on this photo is around, I think, 1,500 to 2,000 liters each. So they would be burying them in the ground. So a reason for that is to have constant temperature throughout all the time, and maturation would take place inside. So fermentation and maturation would take place inside these big clay pots called qvevris. So that has been done many, many thousand years ago. Recently, in last 23-4 years, one man from Italy and Slovenia, on the border with Slovenia, called Joško Grabner, he's credited with renewing and really making these orange wines again in similar way, importing those clay pots qvevris from Georgia and making wine. So he's got like really now big following in that kind of sense. So he single-handedly started the orange wine kind of revolution. So a name orange, actually invention of the name orange has been credited to one British wine importer called David Harvey around 2002, so not long time ago. So actually he had opportunity to taste these wines, and as soon as he saw the color, he thought immediately orange, and then repeating orange and communicating with his friends in wine business made that kind of term official. So credit to him for describing and making orange wine. So on the label of today's wines made in that way is labeled orange because of the color. So basically, orange wine is made it could be made in very different ways. It could be made that whole of the white grapes with everything, including pips, is sometimes crushed and just put for 3, 4, 5, 6 days for the fermentations, but also it could be lasting a month. So result is very unusual, very different wine. It's been described like something in between white wine and red wine. It can be tannic as well, because if it's fermented with stalks, we found tannins in the stalks too. Sommeliers just love orange wine. So basically orange wine is now a big hit everywhere, but it's very different. It's not your usual wine. So it comes like lots of people love it, lots of people hate it, but basically for me, as always, the food is the key. So we're gonna try the first orange wine, and we're gonna try it with food. Hope you have some bits of food in front of you, and you will see what I mean that when I say that no wine intentionally has been made without thinking about food throughout history of winemaking. It's exactly that. So basically, orange wine is kind of bold, it's savory, could be tannic. It's not your typical glass of fruity wines. It could be like a touch of nutty oxidation. It could be dried fruits. It's very, very different. So orange wine can withstand wide variety of food. So we're going to be tasting today Plavec Sivi. You can see here on the left-hand side from Bura Mrgodic family, small family winery based on Pelješac Peninsula, made by Antonia Mrgodic and her uncle Niko Bura. So you can see Plavec Sivi 2016 is the year. That's the first year they actually attempted to produce Plavec Mali. They to produce orange wine using Plavec Sivi, Plavec Grey. That's not your typical Plavec Mali, which we're going to be tasting later on as well. That's kind of a mutation of Plavatsmani. So they have sorted out that mutated Plavatsmani. You can see the color here is pinkish, and that's very suitable for production of orange wine. So grape varieties like Pinot Grigio, which is also kind of pinkish in color when ripe, or Georgian white grape variety called Rixatelli. They all have that pinkish color, which contributes to this fantastic orange color. So 2016, they crushed the grapes, white grapes, and kept everything together only for 4 days. So fairly shortly maceration period, and then fermentation took place for about 10 to 12 days. And then after that, wine has been maturing in stainless steel tanks. So let us pour a sample. And so that's Bura 2016. It's got 13.5 in alcohol. 2016 was very good year. Now you can see this color here. It's really very, very different. It is orangey kind of color. So yeah, hence the name orange. So let's firstly try to smell this wine, and let's check what we possibly can smell, what we think about this wine. So this is very, very different, as I was saying. It is kind of nutty, it's kind of savory, it's kind of very different. Bit of dried fruits. It's like people, when they first taste orange wine, they don't know pretty much what to think. So it is kind of very different than your usual wine, but it's also very, very interesting. So let's try to taste this wine, and then we're going to see how that works with some of the fruits. That is very, very different wine. So it is kind of like oxidized nuttiness there. It's almost like towards sherry amontillado, dried fruits, really kind of savory notes, very, very different, but also in the same time very interesting. So let me check. What do you think about this wine? So very delicious. We'll be looking out for some orange wine. So now it smells delicious. Smells like brandy, like sherry. Yes, I agree with that. It is very, very different wine. Really, it's wine, but very different wine than what we regularly have. So now I have had some food suggestions. I even wrote here, and now can you see it? Wine number 1, you see that's orange wine. That's lots of food which could be combined with that wine, like hummus, any type of hummus. I have here pepper hummus. It could be aubergine. Dijon mustard really works well with this wine. Nocellara olives, smoked mackerel, that kind of thing. So let's wasabi peas as well. I have a couple of wasabi peas. So whatever you have, let's taste a little bit of that. I'm going to go with hummus. Delicious. Whatever you have out of this selection, if you have anything, try that. And let's retaste the wine again, and let's see how that would react. I think it works in really, really good way. So this is very much so food type of the wine, but orange wine can withstand really variety of different foods. You see Dijon mustard or English mustard, hummus, smoked mackerel. This wine, orange wine, would be great with curries as well. So that wine making method, which I just described earlier, really has increased potential for this wine to be combined with really variety of foods. That's why sommeliers love this wine. Wines like this with longer fermentations, with lots of tannins as well, could be really good match with also the meaty dishes. So I think it's quite unusual. I think it's quite interesting. I think it works with this type of the food really in an interesting way. And let me see what you think. So Nucellata olives and definitely makes the taste buds tingle, changes to less sweet taste. That's correct. Emily Arthur says that. For me, really, aim of the wine and food is that food should enhance wine and wine should enhance food to make that special better match. Initially, I would think, when you taste this wine without food, you would be having completely different kind of opinion without food. Food is the key, especially with orange wines. Let me see what some other people are saying. Taste is beautiful after smoked mackerel and Dijon mustards. Exactly. It's, very few wines, Magic Mike says that, very few wines you can really match with smoked mackerel or Dijon mustard. But orange wine, yes, it becomes better. Smells like a brandy, a little bit less than brandy for me, tiny bit yes, but more like Amontillado sherry. Ella is saying we have Nucellata olives too and work great together. Yeah, this is fantastic style of the wine, and this style of the wine really is so unique. It can taste, it can take on smoked mackerel, Dijon mustard, and spicy dishes, and also the curries. So I think it's really, really interesting style of the wine. So that's orange wine. So hope you enjoyed the first one. It's very different. And let's move on to the next one, which is Malvasia from Mr. Walter Sehic, this youngish winemaker here. And also 2017, Malvasia is indigenous local grape variety native to Istria in Croatia, but also part of the Istria is belonging to Slovenia. So Malvasia Istriana is native to that part of the world. And this winemaker is based in one Slovenian, well, for me, the most important Slovenian wine region called Gorica Hills or Goriška Brda. It's a really beautiful part of the world. They are really comparing that to Chianti Hills by beauty. So wines are just fantastic. And Mr. Sehic has made this Malvasia with skin maceration. So to take out of the skins of the white grapes for 2 or 3 days, some complexities, and just stainless steel tanks over the winter time, 6 months in the bottle, and it's on the market. So I think it's quite interesting. Wine, for this wine, I have suggested smoked salmon, Comte cheese. Comte is kind of medium bodied cheese, but medium cheddar also can do. So let's try to taste this Malvasia, and let's smell and let's taste and let's think. Let's see what you think. Smell is pretty much closed. It's like ripe fruits, stone fruits, peaches or apricots, but not really intense or aromatic. Let's taste and let's see how it tastes like. Wow, taste is completely different than the smell. It's got lots of body. It's kind of lots of fruitiness. It's got some tropical fruits, some apricots, peaches, kind of really interesting, good, refreshing acidity as well. So I think, yeah, it smells fruity. Yeah, Neil is saying fruity smell. It is fruity, but not really highly aromatic initially when you smell it. But I think it's better in the mouth on the taste than actually on the smell. It's really, really complex. It's interesting. It's balanced, which is very important for me as well. And it's got that kind of almost tropical flavors. So if you have any food that I recommended here or any medium type of the cheese, Neil is saying it's dry, but not too dry. Actually, this is 100% dry because there is no residual sweetness left in this wine at all. So it's 100% dry, but fruitiness also can trick you very easily. If the wine is fruity, you are immediately thinking sweetness, which is in this case not. This is 100% dry wine. Sweetness we detect on the very tip of the tongue. So if there's anything, when you taste the wine, you would be detecting that immediately there. So this is a completely dry wine. And I think by the body and structure, it should be really, really working well with smoked salmon or medium bodied cheese like Comte or medium cheddar. So I have a little bit of smoked salmon here. I have Comte cheese as well. So let's try. If you have any of the food, I'm sure you're going to be finding something like this if you open a fridge. So let's try that piece of smoked salmon or Comte cheese, and let's see how that works. I think it's just blend together. Blend together very nicely. And that's exactly what we want to have. We want to have harmony between wine and food. And I think works really, really well. Let's try a piece of cheese and see what works better. Equally good. I think cheese or smoked salmon works perfectly with this wine, especially medium-bodied cheese. So, have you had a chance to try something? Bring out the salmon flavor. That's nearly saying that. Yeah, that's exactly that. Brings out the flavor, but also makes really, really nice match, harmonious match and harmonious finish. But I think also it works really well with medium-bodied cheese. Delicious wine. This is the alcohol level in this wine is 13%. And you can see it here, which is alcohol is always contributing to the body and structure. So this is kind of medium plus bodied wine, and we want medium plus bodied food, which is smoked salmon or medium cheese, to have same body, so one does not overpower the other, but makes harmony. So Emily is saying, got crunchy matured cheddar and works perfectly. Yes, matured cheddar, crunchy matured cheddar can work, not vintage aged cheddar, which might really overtake this wine. Magic Mike is saying works really well with smoked salmon and really balances with the cheese. Almost tastes sweeter with the cheese. Exactly like that. It loses kind of acidity and brings out touch of complexities and makes that final match much, much better. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it works really, really good. Okay, so glad you're enjoying that. Now you can see by now, only after the first two wines, how food really, really is important. And whenever I taste some wine, and if initially I think I don't like that wine very much, the first thing which I think is which food will make that wine better and works every time. So lots of people would be put off by that first wine, orange wine, tasting it without food, but really with food is something else. So Andrew is saying definitely works well with cheese. Yes, I agree with that, but also with smoked salmon, I think. Okay, so a bit of water. And let's let's move to the next wine, which is made by this youngish winemaker here in the middle. And he's got 3 sons to follow. Mr. Josip Brkic, he's a Croat living in neighboring Bosnia and Herzegovina, not very far from Dubrovnik, in one area called Čitluk, half an hour drive to city of Mostar. And he's the first Bosnian biodynamic winemaker, really. So he, do lots of things like working with the movement of the moon, doing certain works in cellar or in the vineyard, specifically in the way how the movement of the moon changes. So his wines are really interesting. Small production as well. Plava Greda is the name of the Plava Greda here. Is the name of the vineyard location. It's a really dry, interesting, limestone, rocky location. Really, that area around city of Mostar is so good for organic or biodynamic wine because it's dry. Originally, generally rain comes only in the winter months, which is really good. Some rain in the spring, and most of the summer, there's no rain, especially around harvest time, which is very important, month and a half around harvest time. So basically, that would be important. That would be described as good vintage. Rain can bring all sorts of diseases, rotting, fungus diseases, all of that. So it's very important to have dry summer. And this area around city of Mostar have that. This grape variety is called Blatina. So that southern part of Bosnia and Herzegovina towards Montenegro. They have Blatina as a red, and then also one white grape variety called Žilavka. So these are local, indigenous grape varieties, and really can produce wide varieties of styles of the wines. This wine has been made naturally, so no other yeast fermentation has been taking place naturally. And after fermentation, this wine has been spending 16 to 18 months in these oak barrels. You can see the very different kind of sizes of them. This is kind of standard size of the French oak barrel, but this is Bosnian oak barrel, and you can see they vary in size because Bosnians are not really, they don't have knowledge about barrel making, cooperage, like French, but they are trying and they're starting, and this Bosnian oak barrel is giving very interesting contribution to Mr. Josip Brkic's top wine called Moonwalker or Mjeseća from Žilavka. So Blatina is a very interesting grape variety. It's one of the handful of grape variety which has only one flower, female flower. Generally, most of them have both, so pollination is easy. But this grape variety, alongside with one grape variety called Grk in Croatia, they have only female flowers. So they have to plant something else around, like male wine plant. In this case, it's either Merlot or one local grape variety called Trnjak to do pollination by wind. So it's a little bit difficult to make wine like this, but also Blatina makes surprisingly elegant and lighter styles of the wines considering the hot climate where it's grown. It's more like towards some Pinot Noir, red fruits styles of the wines rather than big, big fuller-bodied wines produced in that area where the hot climate dictates lots of sun and lots of sugar. So let's taste this wine and let's check. I have here a recommendation for this wine as well. Smoked salmon, again, a red wine with it's not only reserved for meat. It could go with fish and also sun-dried tomato. So whatever you have. Let's try firstly the wine and let's see what do you think. Yeah, it is red fruits flavors. It really is a deliciously balanced wine. It's soft, with soft tannins. Alcohol level, let me check that. 12.5, only 12.5, which is great. Really kind of cherry. It's in line with lighter red grape varieties like Italian Dolcetto or Pinot Noir. It's light. It's lots of fruitiness, soft and smooth from aging in oak barrels, and I think it's delicious. It's not full-bodied wine. It's kind of medium plus bodied wine. And let's check how that will work with smoked salmon. I have a piece of smoked salmon here. Sun-dried tomato can do as well. But, you know, feel free to try whatever food you have and, you know, let me know what you think. Smoked salmon, I think it works perfectly well. What do you think? Have you tried with any food, or if not, do you like it on its own? But I think with food would be very different. Plava Greda. Plava Greda is the name of the vineyard. Adi is asking about Plava Greda. Plava Greda is the name of the vineyard. Grape variety is called Blatina, and cinnamon and blueberry could be characteristics of the taste when you taste that wine, depending on the winemaker. Cinnamon or blueberry, it's part of the grape characteristics. Neil is saying works well with salmon. Yes, that's correct. For me, works well really with salmon. It's kind of a type of the wine with soft tannins, lots of fruitiness, and wine like this could be really really good with oily fish like salmon, like tuna, mackerel. Really in that line. So red wine with meat, it's not 100% true anymore. Yeah, I think it's delicious wine. A wine like this could be also chilled to 10, 12 degrees Celsius, slightly more towards white wines, really, rather than powerful, robust red wines, which is around 16, 17, 18 degrees, depending on the wine. Yeah, delicious wine, organically produced. So yeah, I quite like it. I think it goes really well with smoked salmon. I have tasted last week with the sun-dried tomato, works equally well. So yeah, I think it's very good. Okay, let me check. Any more comments? Good. Right. So let's move on to our next wine, which is made in natural ways. So natural wine. So now we have organic wines produced by organically produced grapes. We have biodynamic, and we have natural. So natural basically is wine, if we go back how everything we did before technology and before everything else, how people made wine at those times, we would be making natural wine. So this guy here, Dennis, and his dad, who still works in the vineyard every day, they are producing wines like his dad and dad of his dad always produced. No interventions at all. So no added yeast. Really everything is produced in the way how it used to was done. So natural wines have big movement nowadays, because it's lots of writings in the papers about natural wines, and no added sulfur dioxide as well. Nothing is added, and it's made in a way how always has been made, without additives, without technology, without any of that. So this wine is called Trica. Križ is the name of the winery. Trica it's Plavac Mali. Trica is in Croatian language, it means actually basically three. These grapes for this wine are sourced from 3 different locations. One comes from Postup, second best vineyard in the Croatia, and 2 others around at different regions. So basically, no added yeast, spontaneous fermentation, aging of 18 months in old oak barrels only. So this guy here doesn't use the new oak barrels. Winemakers today, they can decide pretty much whatever they like to do. And he thinks he doesn't want to overpower main characteristics of Plavac Mali, which is dark fruits, prunes, plums, that kind of things. So he uses only old oak barrels because of micro fermentation. Well, basically old oak barrels are allowing a bit of oxygen to come inside, oak being porous material. And that small amount of oxygen, it's called microoxidation. It's very beneficial for wine, for maturation of the wine, for wine to develop. So he's using that for 18 months for this wine. And then this is 2018. 2018 was very good wine, 14% alcohol by volume, reflects hot climate around that area. This is produced on Pelješac Peninsula. And yeah, Plavac Mali, I did describe Plavac Mali in the last couple of master classes, but for the people who don't know, Plavac Mali is considered to be the best red grape variety in Croatia, the king of all red grape varieties. Plavac means, Plavac Mali roughly kind of translated would mean small blue. Plavac blue and Mali small. Bunches of grapes are small, tight and deep blue in color. And it's also related, connected to Zinfandel. It's actually, Zinfandel is his dad, which originates from Croatia, actually not from California, from area around the city of Split. And it's called Zinfandel or Tribidrag or Crljenak, around that area. So Plavac Mali is his son. That's the relation between Plavac Mali and Zinfandel. And Plavac Mali can produce superb, top quality, really excellent wines. It can make pretty much any style of the wine. There's one winemaker called Vukas. He's making sparkling Plavac Mali in the same way like champagne. Traditional method, the second fermentation in the bottle. Plavac Mali can produce really good, easy drinking, fruity, everyday wines, but also, if it comes from top location, it can produce complex, spectacular, long-lived, superb wines. Plavac Mali is also able to produce some spectacular sweet styles of the wines called Prašak. So that's why it's considered to be the king of all red grape varieties in the Croatia. So let's taste, let's smell, and let's taste this wine, and let's check what do you think about that? Yeah, typical Plavac Mali, dark fruits, nice smell, promising smell, prunes, maybe, that maybe blueberries. Let's taste and let's see what you think. In the mouth, it's like a combination between red fruits and black fruits, almost like some dark cherries, blueberries, blackberries, but combined with dark cherries. It's soft, it's smooth. Tannins are really now nice. They're not harsh or green. They are interesting. And Neil is saying plummy smell, really nice, soft. It is soft, but it's big wine at the same time. 14% of alcohol. Alcohol always does contribute to the body of the wine. Emily is saying our favorite so far. Dry, but also very juicy. I agree with that. Lots of fruitiness. We do sell this on the website. Yeah, that's available. But it's a big wine. It's not. It's soft and smooth. It's made in that way, naturally produced. But it's got lots of tannins. Tannins are also good with food, with protein-based food, with meaty dishes, with matured cheeses, with manchego. I recommend this wine with manchego here, manchego cheese, or any full-bodied cheese like Parmesan or something like that. But if you really want to check and recheck the tannins and body of this wine, you really need to cover your gums in this way. So now, when you do that, there's lots of tannins now. Gums are center for tannins, and tannins are great with protein-based food. So now, tannins with manchego. Let's check that out, how that should work. Great manchego cheese as well. Now, this is what I call really, really good match. Let me know what you think. Magic Mike, love this. It is explosion of flavors. It's kind of really complex, really interesting, but also in a way kind of old-fashioned style of the making. But for me, what is important is the overall balance of the wine. And this is balanced wine. So I just tasted with manchego cheese. I think it's working really, really well. I think it's just almost just perfect match. But let me know if you have any type of the food that you tried with this wine. Let me know what you think. Okay, yeah, delicious wine. Yeah, I don't know. I like the label as well. Let me just try to show you. This is his dad going with the dog and hand tool to work in the vineyard. Like most of the time, most of his life, he's been working that way. Yeah, Neil and Jenny are saying excellent match with matured cheddar. Yes, it's really good match with what we want to do. We want full-bodied wine like this. This is without doubt full-bodied wine. We want to match that with full-bodied food, so one does not overpower the other, but makes harmony. So any full-bodied cheese like matured cheddar or manchego or Parmesan would be really good with this wine. Okay. A bit of water. Water is always good. Now we have two big boys coming up, and it's a post-up. So this young lady with her uncle, she made that first orange wine, but also she's making this wine Margodic. She's Antonia Margodic, and first wine actually is made in combination between two of them. It's called, you can see it here. It's called Bura, because that's surname of her uncle. So Antonia has made wines for a good number of years now. She's been making wines in New Zealand, in Chile, Argentina. She's finished also studying, 5 years studying in Zagreb or in regards to the winemaking and viticulture. And she's actually 13th generation of Margodic family. That's the oldest family of the winemakers on Pelješac Peninsula that we know of. So yeah, they're well respected over there, and they've been, in wine business and grape growing business for centuries now. So Postup, yeah, you can see here on this photo, Postup is a spectacular location. if you drive to this main road or to these villages, you would be overlooking opposite way to Korčula Island, which is really spectacular view when you are driving and when you are on top of this Postup vineyards. Similarly, coming from Korčula by ferry, short ride, 15 minutes only, it's spectacular way towards Postup. So on this picture, on this photo on the right-hand side, it's Dingač. So Dingač as the best vineyard in the country, and Postup. So Postup and Dingač, that's the names of the vineyards, not a grape variety. Both of them are 100% Plavac Mali by law. It can't be mixed. So for my wine, I had to put Plavac Mali, not Dingač, because I did added 10% of Chardonnay in this wine. So but I'm going to explain that a little bit later on. So Postup is spectacular location, as you can see. It's superb next to the sea, influence of the sea, sun rays, reflecting from the surface of the sea, additionally heating up Plavac Mali. Plavac Mali loves sun. He just thrives in that conditions. Those stones, limestones around, they're heated up during the day, they radiate heat in the night, and Plavac Mali enjoys all of that. So this is 2017 Postup Mare. Mare is name of the Antonia's mother. So he made this wine in tribute to her mother. And this is big wine. It's 15.5 in alcohol. I think you can see it here. And I don't worry about alcohol in wine, providing it's balanced with everything else. So if it's balanced with everything else, then I don't care about that. For me, the most important thing is balance. So let's taste this wine. Let me just swirl this wine a little bit. I think you can see those tears or legs in my glass, and they are clear indication of lots of alcohol in this wine. But again, if it's got structure and everything else to support that, for me, that's alcohol always contributes to the body, but it's really only if it's not balanced with everything else, then I'm worried about alcohol. So let's try to smell this wine, and let's see what you think. Somebody's saying, nearly saying a little bit of tannin. It should be more than a little bit. Let me just try this. Really promising, interesting smell, dark fruits. Lots of drying sensation when you cover your gums. That's tannins, but they are not unpleasant. There's kind of smoky aftertaste, a little bit of, yeah, nearly saying smells smoky. It does. That smokiness, I think, comes from the barrels, oak barrels. It's really smoky aftertaste. So this wine with smoked mackerel, again, could be really good. I have written that here. Smoked mackerel, Parma ham, Comté cheese, full-body cheese, but also smokiness with smokiness. What we are trying to do when we are matching wine and food, we try to match similar things. The only way when we go opposite is like with sweet wine. Sweet wine with smelly blue cheeses, that's opposite. Chocolate with sea salt, that's opposite. But generally, we are trying to match same ingredients in food and wine. And yeah, this has that smoky kind of aftertaste. Yeah, almond, frangipane, yeah, but changes to cherry with the Parma ham, changes to yeah, Parma ham makes this wine softer. And I think that works really well. Yeah, it's very interesting wine. It's a big wine, but again, balance is there. So 15.5 in alcohol is not a problem for me. Let me try something with that. Yeah, with full-bodied cheese, it's just perfect. Yeah, it's really interesting wine. Again, Antonia Margudic, she doesn't use any of the new oak barrels. This wine has been aged for year and a half to 2 years, even sometimes, depending on the year, in only old oak barrels. So new oak barrels would be adding spiciness besides micro-oxidation. They would be adding spiciness, and they would be changing flavor profile of the wine. French oak barrels would be adding kind of more vanilla, more kind of sweet spices to the wine. American oak barrels would be adding more coconutty, nutmeggy spices and so on. So winemakers can choose whatever they like. Nowadays, they're simply spoiled for choice. But basically, Antonia is choosing strictly old oak barrels just to have micro-oxidation and just to preserve aromatics and flavor profile of the Plavac-Mali from Postup. And I think it's a big wine. It's a wine for the winter months. This is not summer style of the wine. And I think it's just perfect for Christmas and New Year and type of the food we're going to be having around this time of the year. Okay. Any comments so far? Any questions? Please let me know. You see, this wine is not filtered out. You can see in your glass, maybe a few bits and pieces. So that's kind of naturally made. Well, in Scotland, Andrew is saying it would be good summer wine in Scotland. Yeah, that's that's Scotland. Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, weather is getting better even in Scotland. Who would tell that British would be making wines, and not any wines, but world-class wines now? Even if you mentioned that 10, 15 years ago, everybody would be laughing. But see now what's happening around southern parts of England and around the area Kent and Dover and White Cliffs of Dover. They're producing world-class sparkling wine in the same way like Champagne. Who would tell that? Even Champagne houses are buying land there. Tattingen bought 3 or 4 years ago, huge plot of 80 hectares in size over there. Yeah, but yeah, Scotland will need some more time for this climate change to be beneficial. But then, Scotland is not doing bad in regards to whiskey. People are using whatever it grows around them to make whatever they can, and bad weather. Magic Mike thinks this could be favorite. Yeah, it's really complex, interesting wine. So Scotland is using, lots of rain, lots of cloudiness and all of that, which is good for grains. And you are using, lots of grains to make, especially barley, to make whiskey. So, export of whiskey is going year on year, sky high. So it's not all bad. Yeah, this is a complex wine. I really like it. It's a warming type of the wine, but also it's surprisingly balanced for this for this size, this full-bodied wine. Delicious. Okay, so let me tell you now. I saved the best for the last. So this is my own wine, with very posh name, as you can see it, called Chateau Mario. And this is 2016, very good year, same like that Blatina. And basically, I've been thinking about making my own wine for a very long time. But always there was something, complicated about that. And then 2016 came, and basically what happened was I heard that one of the grape growers and people who own vineyards, so now this is Dingach. Right next, if you look at this Postup on the right-hand side, looking from the sea, would be Dingach. So you can see it's a bit steeper than Postup. And it's really spectacular location. So in 2016, I heard that the whole of this Dingach vineyard is fantastic. But even within Dingach, there's some great and some good and some very good locations. So typically, the best locations would be towards top of the mountain. these parts here, because when the night comes, it's kind of a little bit cooler, and day and night temperatures. This is southern side. Very hot days and cool nights produce acidity. So this is very warm area. You know, you can't have dingaj by law below 14% alcohol by volume. It would be not called dingaj, but plavat smali. Also very strict regulations. It has to be 100% plavat smali from this region, and that's why I didn't call it dingaj, because I put 10% of Chardonnay. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to make a blend which is made already in France, so I did not invent that. It's called Côte Rôtie. It's in northern Rhône, and it's very famous blend using 90% of Syrah and 10% of Viognier, very aromatic, white, interesting white grape variety, which I love. So I wanted to make something like that from the local kind of grape varieties, 90% of plavat smali and 10% of Chardonnay, produced just behind this hill in a village called Potong. And they were co-fermented together. So that was kind of shock for my friend winemaker in 2016. When I just started, I made cooperation with one friend winemaker, and he was saying, why would you do that? You know, nobody ever did that. I said, oh yes, French did. So we did that, and then we matured this wine for 2 years in brand new, very expensive French oak barrels. And after this, for nearly 2 years in the bottle. So let's see what you think. This wine will benefit a bit of aeration. It's a big wine. It's 15.5 in alcohol. And 2016 was really a good year, very perfect conditions for dingaj wine. So let's give it a little bit of aeration, and let's see what can we smell here. New oak barrels should be influencing this wine in spiciness, sweet spices, touch of vanilla, and so on. So let's see what can we smell in this wine. Well, smells great. Smells exactly how I wanted those new oak barrels to influence this wine. So I can smell a touch of vanilla, I can smell nutmeg, I can smell sweet spices, but they are not overpowering this wine. So touch of coffee, touch of nutmeg. It's really interesting smell. The wine like this, I would be, you know, the more powerful wine it is, I would be decanting this wine maybe for half an hour, 45 minutes in decanter before tasting, but that's exactly what we are doing here in a glass. Yes, strongly fruity and vanilla. Yes, nutty. Neil is saying nutty, coffee, vanilla, fruity. Lots of things going on here. Let's taste. I like it. I know it's my wine. I have to like it. But I do like it. I think it's a big wine, mouthfeel. It's full. It's complex. There's no emptiness in the mouth. Also, when you swallow that wine, flavor just sticks with you. It just, aftertaste is very long. Then as soon as you smell the wine, lots of things start happening there. So it's kind of complex in the way I did like it. Really noticing Emily saying smell of fresh oak, having with nuts, and feel like they really brings out the coffee flavors. Yes, it's a complex, but it's also the new oak barrels did not overpower this wine because it was hot year and grapes were really of the top quality, and I feel really like it's really good wine. So again, I put here for the full-bodied cheeses, manchego, parmigiano, nuts. I have a few nuts here. So yeah, of course, for this wine, best match would be steak, maybe venison steak, maybe lamb, maybe beef steak, simply grilled. And I think that would really give this wine, lots of kind of good things. It's complex. It's really interesting. It's Christmassy, New Year kind of style of the wine, which can go with variety of full-bodied foods, cheeses, meats, and so on and so on. Let me see what you think. Yeah, spicy and nutmeg, very complex. Yes, Magic Mike loves it. Me too. I think it's absolutely delicious. I think it does reflect the hot climate and area where it comes from. For some of you, if you have been to Dingač, you know exactly what I mean. It's very spectacular, hot southern side location, all day sun. And Plavac Mali really do love that. This wine is not filtered out, so I try to make it in as natural way as possible. So there could be some sediment there. That's all natural, but sediment will not influence flavor or taste of the wine. Yeah, it's really spectacular location. In this year, 2016, I made only 2 barrels. 1 barrel is 300 bottles, 225 liters in size, 300 bottles, so 600 bottles only. 2017, 600 bottles bottled last year when I was down there last autumn. Well, this autumn actually, this autumn. After spending nearly 3 years in oak barrels, thanks to this pandemic, so we did not rush to bottle that wine, 2017. 18, we're going to be bottling that in spring, and 19 and 20 are in the oak barrels right now. So that's only like 600 to 1,000 bottles produced. It's more like experimentation and hobby for me, but I do sell this wine. I do have a Chateau Mario Wine Club, so with lots of benefits. So if anybody is interested, I can send more details. Really interesting kind of benefits are winery and tasting up to, you know, complimentary winery and vineyard tour, but also we can taste previous vintages, even from barrel and bottles for the members and so on. So if interested, please let me know, and I will send you more details. So let me just check here on the chat box. Okay. Andrew is saying, looking forward to enjoying the bottles we have at Christmas. Would you say it would go with turkey or maybe save it for the day? I would rather save it with the steak. For turkey, I would rather go with something like plava grade. But with steak, really. Sausage, yeah. Sausage would be perfect for this. Yeah. We'll send details. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, it's. I think it's really interesting, which is delicious, and I'm more than happy with the results, really. So, if I may ask you, which wine was your favorite wine? Which wine you loved it in combination with food as well? And what was good or bad or interesting or not so interesting for you? Any comments on that field? What did you think about orange wine? Yeah. I'm just gonna grab a bit of water. So Neil and Jenny are saying they loved orange wine. Yeah, I think in regards to the food, it really opens up whole spectrum of possibilities. Really. David is saying great selection. Thank you. I think it's great. I think it's really good warming up selection to Christmas. Shame I didn't have any sweet wines from Croatia this time, but maybe next time. But yeah, I think it's a good selection of everything, you know, to cover and to warm us up and to prepare us for Christmas, really. Emily is saying she's agreeing as well. Yeah, I think it is. Andrew is saying we'll save it for the steak. Yeah, that's better. Not too keen on the orange, but enjoy the pasta. Okay, maybe orange wine should be retested again with some different foods, which I think could work really, really well. But yeah, yeah, we all have different kind of tastes. Similarly, like with food, some people don't like lamb, but they like chicken and so on. And you know, different tastes requires different wines. But then by tasting, you can really select what you prefer, what you don't prefer. So yeah, it's working really good. Okay, so hope you all enjoyed this warming up wines to the Christmas. Cirque Malvasia is definitely our choice with salmon. Yes, Mike is saying with salmon. Yeah, I agree with that. It's similar body. It's absolutely similar body. Medium-bodied wine, medium-bodied food, good acidity, can cut through the smokiness, and the Malvasia is fresh, minerally wine, and it's a perfect match. So yeah, hope all of you enjoyed another tasting with me. We might, you know, do some tasting next month, maybe end of the month, when we start forgetting about Christmas and diets and all of that. Yes, so if you have any photos with food and wines, if you do that, and if you share that with us, that would be great. I'm thinking about maybe, you know, doing another tasting end of next month, but you know, we're going to need some time after Christmas and New Year to recover, maybe a couple of weeks. I don't think no more than that is needed. Mike is liking treats and Chateau Mario. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, thank you. Next month, I think we're going to be needing some rest after New Year, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe end of the next month, maybe to do some interesting next tasting, maybe to involve some different wines. So let me just check the messages. Everybody's saying next month they would like that. Okay, I can send the details. I can check what could be interesting for you. We can do it. We can make some interesting selection, and I can send details. As soon after this year is finished. So hopefully by that time, Brexit will be done, and hopefully a pandemic would be finished too, so we can start living normally again. Emily is saying we are in for the next tasting. Thanks for that. I will send details. So thank you very much for joining tonight. And Neil is saying like 2 and 5 best. Okay, 2 was Malvasia and 5 was Postop. Thank you very much, everybody, and I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And night is still young, so, and it's Saturday, so enjoy the rest of your night, and Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year, and I hope to see you next year in the very beginning of the year, towards end of January, but I will be in touch. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to everybody.